How do you do it? How do you do it? Go live, play intro. Oh, did you do it or I did it?
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff.
Shake it back! Does that feel good? Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Are y'all in a prison? Then it goes live.
Stevie doesn't know we're live. Oh no.
Oh,
This ain't good. Oh no. Oh no.
What in the world?
The Portuguese Wi-Fi ain't too good.
All right, so welcome everybody to episode 70 of the Shake and Bake Show with Stevie Fast Jackson, who is in Brazil with one bar of 1G internet, Lyle Barnett, and Courtney Enders. This is going to be a shit show.
from the first moment of streaming live from a Portuguese prison, Stevie Fast Jackson.
Tell me it doesn't look like his back is against the wall of some prison cell.
Why is the window green?
Why is he frozen every 5 seconds?
This is
Anyway.
Oh, man, this is bad.
Courtney?
It's going to be me and you, bud.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. I mean, apparently when Stevie and I just did it a couple weeks ago, it was terrible, right? Isn't that what the masses said?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I got comments. I got text.
Well, just like I said before the show started, if somebody wants a show that is on time and proper every single week, go start your fucking own.
Listen, I wasn't suggesting
That's
that.
right.
I was just reiterating that you believe.
Parental advisory, Molly, I guess we should start with that.
So we were going to try and have a professional show. We have Brian Lohnes and do all the right things, but apparently not.
Well, then you should have had me sit this one out.
Yeah, that's true. Probably would have been more organized. Anyway, how we doing, ladies?
I'm good. Beadlock in the world, one set of drag lights and Jag spikes SSRs at a time.
Very good. Very good. Stevie, how's
I am-
jail?
Fabulous.
There it is.
I'm fabulous. I'm gonna work on Wi-Fi connection. I'll hop off and I'll be right back.
Oh, okay, good.
I'll be
He
back.
said,
See ya. All right,
he
Courtney.
said good.
Who did?
You, when you said I'm gonna hop off, good. So now it's just me and you. What's up, dude?
Just fresh out of the bathtub with the kids. Can you smell me?
No, thank God.
Fuck you.
But I actually also just took a shower. I'll tell you, this one was tough for me. Got home from Pomona last night, about 1 a.m. and had some meetings today. And I started my day with a phone call from Lyle Barnett.
I
So
was gonna say, who's the first person you talked to today?
you were. I get a text.
Me.
Call me when you're up. I said, I'm sick. I don't feel like fucking with nobody. And he said, take your time. You're old.
I did.
Yeah. So then I called him and I started my day with Lyle Barnett. So it's really just been mediocre at best ever since.
I was well, we're gonna get into Pomona in the World Finals that didn't happen. The World Finals that didn't.
You know, I bitch and moan about being so tired all the time, and like I have 14 jobs. There was something about having nothing to do for 4 days that wore me out more than like a regular busy day. It was a lot of sitting around, a lot of eating, a lot of drinking, because once the race is called, the Sheridan's right there, right? So you just go over and you have drinks.
How'd the scale look when you got back?
Not good. Not good. Spencer and I both said we really need to get back on the program. I had lost 10 pounds before. I'm pretty sure I gained 5 of them back in Pomona. So not going to be good. But like, what else are you supposed to do on a rain delay? Brian Lohnes said it best. I was talking to him at the banquet the other night, and he said, well, it's one of those things. You sit around and wait. You eat while you wait. Then once it gets called, you go, well, let's go to the bar until dinner. Then you go to dinner, but you go to dinner early because you're bored. And then after dinner, you're like, what are we going to do? You're going to go back to the bar.
Yeah.
So it was just this for 4 days, this repeat self-destruction.
Oh.
There he is.
Any better or no better?
We'll see. It looks good now.
I don't know what it did to fix it. So, did y'all miss me?
A little.
Yeah. Oh, no better. Sorry, buddy.
But the real question is Molly still on to where she can tee up our high and low video?
Hold on, I can do it. Hold on. Stand by.
Jesus, even his brain's slow with it.
Going on a trip.
Going on a trip in my favorite rocket ship.
All right.
Check this in.
Stevie, where are y'all exactly?
So we are in Sao Paulo International Dragway. We're actually in Itatiba. We're about 2 hours inland from Sao Paulo. So we're 5,000 miles from our house, south.
Yikes. But like right this minute, you at the racetrack in the shop?
Yeah, we're at the track. So we just finished testing today, had dinner, and we get to shake and bake with you guys.
Beautiful.
And we appreciate you guys pushing it another day this week. I'm glad we did, because especially with the potential delays of the Pomona stuff and getting loans on here and everything, Tuesday just wasn't going to work. And through the holidays, Molly Lou put out a nice little schedule for us. So don't go on autopilot and assume we're going to be on every other Tuesday. We are going to be on.
Hey, excuse me. Is that the NHRA Rookie of the Year in background there?
It is.
Just wanted to check. Hey, buddy.
We'll talk to him in a minute. I got a big trophy sitting here we want to show you guys.
Beautiful.
All
right, see, hi. Got some.
So yes.
Holiday schedule.
Here is our holiday schedule today.
Did anybody notice that y'all at my expense put my Pro Mod smashing into a Crown Victoria in the background?
When you did that last year, what did I tell you? I said, this will live on for Christmases to come.
Forever.
Forever. You don't do what you did and expect it to go away.
That's okay. So we are on tonight. Snowbird's Pit Party will be a normal Tuesday. And then our New Year's Eve show will be on Monday. We have to move that up a day or two, and that's going to be our next time. Then after that, we should be regularly scheduled on January 13th.
Hey, but it's tough. It's getting all of us together with Brazil nonsense, with racing nonsense, family stuff. But we wanted to make sure that we had a show for you guys every other week through the holidays. So there it is. There it is. Okay, so we already played the video of the highs and lows. Let's get into them. What do you
All right. So normally we have Molly Lou Retton on here to run this stuff. Since we don't, I'm going to have to try to figure it out.
Whatever you put up on the screen, we will hit. How about that?
Okay. We got some shirts.
Well, no, let's not do that. So here we go. This is good. My high of the last few weeks happened to be 2 nights ago at the NHRA banquet. Look at Lisa in her red, making me look just large and in charge. Erica and I on the red carpet right there. It was a really cool night. It was in a different room, same place.
Look at your hair.
Oh, bro, I was fucking in it to win it. I got
They let you speak?
They did. I got to introduce the Pro Mod world champion. I got to be the voice of Pro Mod at the banquet, which was really cool. Never spoke off of a teleprompter before. I could have puked, but it was pretty easy. So it was a good night. Good night of celebrating. Kind of sucked not having the race before, but we will talk about that. But I will say there was something in the water because the after party was jam-packed full until they shut us down. And usually it dwindles down to just the dumpster fires, as Stevie would say, of the evening. And it was full. Ron Capps was dancing until the lights came on. I'm not talking about just there, dancing all night long with his daughter. It was really cool. And I think everybody just kind of was so bored and there was nothing happening through the weekend that it was a different vibe of the after party this year. And then obviously Spencer winning.
Look at that thing.
Yeah.
Baby. Pretty cool. Spencer Hyde, Rookie of the Year.
Looks like a movie poster. He looks like he's like a Mission Impossible.
Dude,
looks like he's about to fly a B-52 bomber or something.
So, ladies and gentlemen, your Rookie of the Year, Spencer Hyde. I like right in your face.
That's kind of good. What's going on there?
I don't know what's happening here.
It's those ones. We gotta shut those.
What y'all got going on? Some optical illusion.
We start with
Also, I noticed someone had a birthday.
I had a birthday. No. I had a birthday. I turned
40. Courtney's 40. Yeah.
I'm 1 year off of 40. 1 year. Wow.
But you look 49, so there's that.
And then he has a birthday this Saturday, so we get to double whammy. But yeah, Ty was definitely, I didn't know if he was winning yet when I gave Molly my highs, but I is definitely Spencer winning the Rookie of the Year because you look at the names that have won that thing. That's a large deal. Couple of bunk wins in there on years that we didn't really have much, but pretty cool deal. Spencer, what do you think?
I think it's pretty badass. Sat with former Rookie of the Year, Jake Coughlin, 6-time world champion. Also another 6-time world champion, Erica Enders. I don't know if you ever heard of her, but
She didn't have nothing to do with that banquet. It was kind of funny.
Did she feel left out?
She did.
everybody wore red in my family for her.
It's true. All of us wore red. No one wore gold.
Oh, man.
So, anyway. So that was
What's your goal?
Rookie of the Year right here.
Congratulations.
And it looks like we're going to be able to pull it off for next year. Still need a little chunk, but I think we got it.
Get this. In 2009, Austin Frog paid Rookie of the Year.
Fireworks. That's fireworks. That's not a rapid guerrilla warfare. That's fireworks that are going off right here.
Are you shitting me?
I have no weapon here. I was like, you know, look at what we're going to do here. They're evidently having a party in the pits here, so I apologize for that.
I swear I thought we were going to war.
One thing about when you're in Brazil here, it really – so like in drag racing in the USA –
it sounds like somebody's beating the bottle of a fuel drum with a fucking sledgehammer.
that's pretty awesome.
This show is not going well.
So, yes, it is. It's great. So, drag racing in the USA is about the cars and going down the track and winning. Motorsports in South America is about having fun with your buddies, and then you do some racing. So, it's just a weird shift. I mean, they're serious about the racing, but there's going to be parties and spontaneous fireworks shows in the pits. And I thought for a second one of them imports on nitromethane was spooling up because that's what they sound like, too.
Your
Anyway.
face is what scared me because I heard it and then I
Well,
saw
the
your
first
face.
boom, I was like, that's not a firework.
Maybe it
Anyway.
was.
Did not sound like a
I'm
firework.
sweating and I'm not even there.
So, yeah, we have a lot of fun. They're Sydney Frigo's having like a sudden death pool tournament in there, probably on the other way. Anyways, what do you got for your low?
I don't remember.
You don't have any lows according to the schedule.
You never
I
have
almost had a low. I'll tell you, I was writing my American Airlines fuck off speech yesterday at the airport because I'm going to tell this very quickly. You know, when you have a layover and you check in, it checks you into both legs, right? So I get to DFW and I want to go into the Admirals Club. So I pull up and I have no boarding pass for my second leg. And I'm like, that's weird. Try and download it, whatever. Go to the Admirals Club. I stumped the woman who had a thing on her chest that said 12 years of service. She'd never seen this happen before. And she said that she's looking, typing, and her face is looking like this. She brings over the little Asian manager, and the Asian manager's like, I don't really know what to do. And she's not ticketed all the way through. And I'm just sitting there in my head thinking, like, how are you not on my app? I can see my seat. I can see that I'm supposed to go to Toronto. My bags were checked all the way through to Toronto. And the answer for a few moments was that I was just not ticketed and I was going to absolutely fucking rage, but they ticketed me and then all was well. So I almost had a low. I teetered on a low.
We were trying to keep her out of the country.
That's what Pete said.
I don't blame you, but the only problem with that is you would have left her in mine.
So Anyway,
My high was pretty simple. We debuted. We've been working on Sydney Frigo's new car for NHRA Pro Mod for next year. We finished it up towards the end of the season, and we started it out in Outlaw trim. We're going to run it at the Snowbirds in a couple of weeks, and then it'll transition into NHRA Pro Mod. We took it to Rockingham last week. I got to shake it down. Very first run went 9:22, 2:45. So I'm like, okay, it's pretty fast. First run to the stripe goes 3:60, and on its fifth run, made a pretty good lick. I think we got a video.
I love
He
the
ain't run like that all day.
Yeah, NC Pro Model was pretty fired up, but big speed out of that thing. It's got our new SF1 engine in it, and it's pretty cool to see that thing come off the trailer. Jeff Pierce tuning it, doing an awesome job, and it was fun driving it. So my high was definitely, normally when you bring a new car out, you get kicked in the balls for the first couple of days, but for it to give it to you is pretty nice.
That thing had her skirt hiked up a good ways out there.
Woo, she's fun to drive. She's light on the wheel, right front skipping the whole time, but it's pretty good. My low was I was super excited to watch some drag racing this weekend. Like fired up to watch some drag racing. I actually had the weekend off from work and racing, and the rain out Pomona kicked me in the butts.
what a dud.
So that's my low. What you got, Robert?
So my high started as a low, ended up as a high. We the Outlaw Pro Mod I drive for Tommy Humans. It's that tealish, green, blue, whatever you want to call it, new model Camaro. We struggled with that thing through the summer. Couldn't get it to go down the racetrack. When we did, it was slow, and we found that the chassis was broke. We sent that thing to Modern Racing. Justin Elks, Matthew, the fab team there, fixed it, got it back together. We also installed the Hartz charger on that unit. And first race at Galat, we made some really nice runs. Didn't go 56, but we made some really nice runs. Car drove really well, probably the best it's ever driven. Went straight, and we did not abort any runs. So really, my high is a shout out to the guys at Modern. They also measured that thing to get rewired, which Lee White is doing between now and the Snowbirds. And that is I guess we can shout them out for their wiring department. You can send a car there, let them measure for it. They will make you a harness, whatever, at any capacity that you want. And you can take the car back home when they're done. They can mail it to you, and you can install it yourself. You do not have to leave it there for them to wire it. So that is an option. That's what we decided to go with. And the guys there, they just did a phenomenal job. They're really good at what they do. Their body shop did a great job patching up where we had shook it a good bit over the past year. It looked really good. It ran good. And a huge thank you to those guys. They did a great job. My low also from Galat is I got absolutely crushed by Ethan Stedding, who went on to win the race.
I'll have to
I watched him throughout the weekend. You know, after we've done it for a little while, when rookies, when young kids come in, I try to pay close attention, just because some of them are cowboys. You can get in the other lane, and if they're in something fast, it can be bad for both of you at some point in the run. And I watched him throughout the weekend. He was driving really good. And Sunday he crushed me and he won. I got my stuff together and left, and came home to listen to the kids. And I text Wes Buck on the way home, and I said, Ethan Stedding's going to be a stud. And he had not won second round yet. And the rest of the day, I think the worst light he had was a low 20. He was 001 or 2 in the semis. And that kid is going to be a problem, and in a good way.
a problem.
And when he beat me, I was picking my chutes up, and he got out, and I walked over to him and I said, let me tell you something, dude. I said, you have a really bright future ahead of you. If you continue to respect this equipment the way you're doing it and drive it like you did today, you've got a really bright future ahead of you. And I meant it. And he went on to win the race, and that kid's going to be good. So I got crushed by him, but I'm really proud of him. Back-to-back championships in PDRA Pro Street, drove good over there. And I would argue, Stevie, you can, and Spencer too, can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I would argue that a good running Outlaw 10.5 car is probably one of the harder door cars to drive.
Yes.
You know, that little, that narrow tire, those things make Pro Mod power. And they're pretty tough to drive. And he did a great job there, and he did a really good job in his dad's car. You know, and I think the plan is for him to continue running Pro Mod. And I'll tell you now that kid's going to be somebody to watch because he's good.
Yeah, it's always exciting when new folks come out and just lay it down. You know, no fear, attack all the time, and he's doing good. It looked awesome.
You know, and I'm sure he knows, you know, you won't – that weekend – you weren't going to beat him, right? It was his weekend. He drove good. They're not all going to be like that. And I know he knows that, you know, but for that weekend there, man, I don't know that you could have beat him if you tried. You know that. I mean, he's good. Got a good team.
He's a stud.
He is that.
No, sir.
All right, let's do some drag race bracket bonanza recap, and then I'm super excited to get our guest on here. I'm going to wear this man out.
I am excited for this bracket bonanza recap.
Only if I crushed you.
You didn't. So the winner, is this for the whole thing?
Skeeter
is the winner of the Shake and Bake.
Oh, TD 4746 has been in the lead. Skeeter must have passed him on the big end.
That's
Where's he at in the top 10?
top
Good
10
old Skeeter.
47, 46.
Oh, that's
Molly-
that's the countdown leaderboard. Countdown leaderboard.
Okay. Countdown leaderboard.
So, but since it's done, like Skeeter won the countdown.
So, Molly, where did I finish in the Shake and Bake League? 11th or something?
No.
I crushed all y'all in the countdown.
Man, I did good.
I still need to talk to Elon because there was a technicality in Vegas where I know I filled him out and it said I DNQ'd. But whatever. Yeah.
Me too. It did the same thing to me.
Hey, I know I wasn't 41 against Lyle on the tree. He won in Vegas, but that's what my time slip says. Okay.
But let's go ahead and look over there on the left side for the entire season standings. Your girl won it all. Thank you. Good night. Both of you suck.
Oh,
At least I didn't finish last. Lyle, you suck.
Yeah, Lyle, you fucking suck.
You suck.
An overall leaderboard, BK NHRA won with a pretty good lead.
That
Oh,
is pretty
Skeeter.
awesome.
Skeeter almost got both.
Yeah, Skeeter's coming around.
gosh dang, Skeeter.
I had fun doing it.
That was really fun, and we kind of threw that on you guys like mid-season there. But next year, this was our warm-up year. Next year, the Shake and Bake League of the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, it's going to be some serious business because we're going from Gainesville on.
Yeah, next year's going to be exciting.
It's going to be great. So,
We're going to mix up some cool prizes and stuff next year. I think
I'm going to whip the shit out of you, Courtney.
shut up,
I'm
Lyle.
done.
You were last.
Whatever. So the whole problem is I'm going to blame. I'm just going to tell the truth. There was a couple races I let Molly pick for me because I was competing, and she rammed me off the cliff. She would pick people to win first round that have never won a round, ever.
Well, to be fair, that happened a few times.
Yeah, but not on majority of the time.
Oh, that's great. Well, you know what? That'll teach you. Figure out a time to do it yourself, you know? When you're laying in bed, when you're on the toilet, you got 5 minutes to fill it out somewhere.
Yeah.
Stevie Fast has 5 minutes.
It's hard to come by these days. Well, speaking of 5 minutes, we have had one of our superstars of our sport in the green room for over 5 minutes. Guy's been on our show before. He's a buddy of mine for a long time, been calling races that I've been racing in for what seems like forever. He's now the voice of the NHRA. If you never seen him, you guarantee you know his voice. Brian Lohnes. What's up, baby?
Look at this guy.
What's happening right now? What's going on?
What's happening?
Excuse me, you had some goats on your eyes.
Yeah, a couple of goats in my eyes. Got a little. So a dude at SEMA gave me the complete box set of the 1989 NHRA. Dude, this is legit. It's the whole set in a box. The 1989 playing card set or trading card set. It's killer.
That is awesome.
We need to bring those back.
No, we got it, man. One question for you: in the dimly lit subway tiled bathroom you're sitting in right now, Stevie, do the toilets flush backwards in that country? Is that how that works?
Yeah, so the water goes counterclockwise.
Okay.
around the
Yeah.
unit.
Yeah, it's cool.
So
Yeah,
it does.
it's a good look.
It's better than the Wi-Fi hole I was in before. So this is as good
It's a
as
dimly lit subway bath.
Brian, were you on when the freaking World War VII started happening?
No, I was, and I was praying for his safety for a minute there. It sounded like he was in Fallujah, not South America. I don't know where the hell the guy was. Yeah,
I didn't know what was happening, but I was trying to find a place to hide.
For like 8 seconds, I really thought that we were going to be that YouTube feed that was live at the right time. You know,
Right when never mind. I won't say it. Whenever something happened, and then something happened.
I mean, you pulled out that guy. You pulled out the blade, so you could have at least given a guy.
I was thinking, I got to defend myself.
Taken
He's got a machine gun, and I got a pocket knife, but I'm gonna try to put it in there.
John Wick style.
Yeah, you pull out a friggin' mechanical pencil. It's not gonna work.
Well, thank you guys for having me on the show.
Man, it's awesome. What has been going on in Lohnes' world? Before we get to talk about drag racing, what have you been up to, man, besides drag racing?
Racing?
Just running around. I got home yesterday, and then today my son Jack has a 03 Mercury Maraudery bot as his first car. So this thing's been our hot rod project, and it runs low 14s. Got a set of 410 gears for it. It's going to the 13s next year. No sweat about that. But we were underneath the thing tonight fixing oil leaks. So that's been. Does
it still have a plastic intake manifold?
No, this thing's got the old school 4.6 Mustang Cobra motor and like a Crown Vic chassis. It's the car. The thing's a tank. It's got a converter in it. The catalytic converters are stripped out of it. It's got an AccuFab throttle. It's got all this. The thing's a hot rod. It's cool.
And you could be working on that with your son, and you came to be on the Shake and Bake show.
Well, I was. I actually have dirty hands for once in my life. So this is proof positive. Yeah.
Well, we won't keep you too long, but we felt it was, as I told you at the banquet, not me, just at dress rehearsal, like, hey, Brian, can you come on the Shake and Bake show in 2 days? Thanks. Also, you can't
listen. I'm the guest of last resort. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being the guest of last resort.
No. You're a weapon on the Shake and Bake show. We try to save the weapons when we need to fire the weapons.
I got you.
With everything that happened, we are on here. We were going to maybe try and have Dallas Glenn on as well. And what's so cool about Dallas Glenn is his response was, I'm going to be driving the rig home still that day. Yeah. So old boy wins a world championship, gets crowned Monday, and has to drive all the way across the country. So we'll catch him at a later date. But you were the only option to come in and dive into, because I knew that our Shake and Bakers had thoughts.
You're the only, you didn't say
so therefore, Brian, you are the last resort. Congratulations.
That's why I said. That is why I listed my caption is "Dude on Trial" by the Shake and Bake 3. That's why I said that. That's why my caption reads that way.
Well, he's going to have a T-shirt.
Option
last resort
that could do it justice of the things we need to talk about.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
Recovering.
No matter how you sugarcoat this, Courtney, you're full of shit.
The truth is, Spencer goes, it should be a Lohnes night. And I was like, it should be. And then I went to Lohnes.
I got to give you a Lohnes hat, man. I got one of those when I was in England. I look good in one of the things.
Yeah, man, you got to do it. Boston Scally. I'm not even, this is just a thing. I like wearing their hats. They got good hats.
Yeah, I like it. It's a nice look.
But look, if we're going into the weekend, it was like the most manic, emotional weekend that ended in just a pile of flaming garbage ever. For instance, we started Thursday, right? And the whole thing on Thursday was, listen, we go into Lucas Oil stuff. We got out of the 8-something champions, we had 6 of them left to crown. It looked like absolute trash the rest of the weekend. And so the decision gets made, hey, listen, we're going into E1 out of the box Thursday morning. It's the only shot we have to run this thing to completion by Thursday night. And, there was an uproar among categories like Top Dragster and Comp and some of these other classes where it's like, hey, you have points leaders that aren't there. If you qualify on points and somebody's going to win a championship on a buy run in the first round, like that is not right. Which it was decided that it wasn't right. So those 3 categories, you had Comp, Top Dragster, Top Sportsman qualified. Everybody else, like the first pair of stalkers off the trailer was the guys were like 005, 008 and ran like 2 thou off the dial. It was crazy.
That's
but
awesome.
It was one of those things where there was obviously, like everything happens, like everybody's just blowing up the internet. Like, this sucks. NHRA is trying to screw everybody. And we ended up finishing that night. And the funny part for me was that like about 4:00, I had to go across town or right around the corner to go to the Marriott for a Toyota thing. We were doing had to do a walkthrough. I hosted their Toyota dinner that night, but it's like, we're down to the semis and I'm like, I'm not missing the shit because you got like multiple winner take all finals that we've been calling all day long. So I'm doing this run through and I'm like, listen, whatever's going on with this dinner, I'm leaving in 10 minutes because I'm not missing the Super Count final, which I don't think I've ever said on a Thursday in my life. But, you know, it was important. And dodged some rain and got that stuff done. And for as bad as everything else went, that was the one thing that went right that entire weekend, was getting that stuff done, racing those finals to completion, getting all the Lucas Oil champions named. Outside of Top Alcohol Dragster, that was the one that was hanging out there. Like Joey Severance, you know, if he goes on to win a race, he wins the championship. But it was devastating. Like, and I'm not trying to capitalize the show here, but if we're just going down this road anyway, like, it sucked. It sucked worse than any other race I've ever been to where somebody didn't get hurt.
Yep,
it did.
And like when you say that about watching Super Gas, like, people don't understand that we are racing fans. Like, we and you are, and I know you are, and I am too. Like, I like going to watch racing when I'm not racing. It was devastating, but seeing some of the flack on the internet, it just burns my soul up. Like, you guys have a water cup, then you're dumping the rain out. Or like, what are you gonna do? I've been to some bad races where you sit around all the time and it sucks. But you know, when I got here, we had a team meeting here. Adriano runs the facility here, and his exact words with me, he said, "I'm glad I'm not sitting in that chair right now, because when it happens here, it sucks." He said, "You don't win if you get to race. You don't win if you get rained out. You sell no tickets. You take a bath financially. You're the bad guy, and there's no way to win."
I will say, Brian, I want to reiterate what you were talking about with the sportsman stuff, because I flew in early, so I was at the racetrack early on Thursday. As a racing fan and a spectator with nothing to do, all I did was just sit up there. And there hasn't been a round robin sportsman only day like that I've gotten to. And I know it happens all the time at division races, but there was every single pro driver was up there on the starting line. All the pro crew chiefs were up there, whether you had somebody in or not, like every single, and it's crazy. Everybody knew the scuttlebutt, and they'd be like, all right, if this person wins, then this is going to happen. It's gonna happen. It was really cool. So the takeaway from that, but I do want to kind of go down, and you have an insight and I have an insight on the options, because I know the entire internet doesn't watch our show, but a large portion of drag racing does. So layout, we're in the tower. It's Saturday. It was Sunday. I lied. It's Sunday.
Yeah, it was Sunday. Yeah.
That second rainstorm rolls in, right? So as an NHRA employee, what were the options on the table?
So what I can tell you is this: the room where the meetings were happening between the NHRA executives and the pro racers was literally next to where Tony and I broadcast the race. Really? It was there was glass between both of us, and you know, you kind of like, I was, you know, like Peter Griffin on Family Guy when he like dips his face into the frame. Like, I was kind of like, okay, what's the mood in there? And look, it never got into, I never heard people raise their voices, and I never heard get into a screaming match. I know a couple of guys were pretty torqued off about what ended up being the decision. Right. Jim Head was one of them. I think Del Horsham was another one of them. Like, let's be real, like that. This is not like, you can't sit here and say everybody loved this decision, because everybody never loves any decision. But that was the decision that was made, and it sucked the soul out of my body when I heard it. And it's like, wow, like, and as the race fan, the guy who just loves drag racing, and it's like, wow, I get to be at Pomona to do this finals. Like, it's the greatest thing in the world. That part of it sucks immediately. And that's your initial reaction. It's like, how can you possibly think this is the best option? And the reality of the situation is, when you look at what the consequence of not doing that is for people to just sit there and, you know, I know Mark Rebellis posted some beautiful photos of the sunshine over the racetrack on Monday, but it did rain there later in the day, like it said it was going to do. Yeah. And I'm not taking a shot at Mark, but that's just how it goes. And it ended up being the right call. And it took me until last night flying home on the plane to remember, and you were there, both of you guys were there. I think it was the U.S. Street Nationals a few years ago. We qualified the field. We get to Sunday morning. It's like 52 degrees out, sun's out. And I remember Victor coming up to the tower. There was 4 or 5 of us in there. He closes the door. He's like, what? Like, this doesn't seem like the right idea. And, you know, that was the moment I knew Victor was going to be a very good track operator, because he sat there and he made his own decision, but he at least took counsel from people in the room, like people that had a clue and people that had been around a minute and had seen different things. And not all of us had the same opinion. but he backed the pickup truck to the starting line and stood up in front of all you guys and said, we shouldn't do this today. And the one thing I took away from what I was thinking about that moment and last night was, as disappointed as I was at Bradenton, as disappointed as I was at Pomona, nobody left with a race car in a pile. And that's, to me, we've blown up enough stuff and wrecked enough stuff this year that it's like, I still hate it. Like, I'm never going to say I like it. I don't like it. I hate it. But I also understand it. So that's my take.
I started to argue with a couple people. I actually did on the internet because I just can't fucking help myself. But logistically speaking, you know, when you think about what it cost for those every day, and I wish I would have talked to a bigger team and got some numbers, but what it cost every day to have the team on the road, right? Like, every night that you pay for, how many hotel rooms does Elite get? 50?
Yeah, 48 or something.
You know, like, so multiply that by, let's average it 150. I don't know what it is in California, $150, not $200 a night, right? You know, and so you're talking about keeping them there all week. You know, if you do start the race, it's a 2-day ordeal, no matter how you do it, right? And like it's just not feasible. You know, when these teams are, it's already expensive enough, right? You know, it's $10,000 every time one of those top field dragsters fires up to go down the fucking racetrack. You know, and then you pile the per diems on, the food, I mean, all that stuff on. Like, you're talking about leaving them there for an extra week. You can't do that, you know. But that's something that the fan and the internet keyboard typers don't think about.
Yeah. Well, if anybody had ever been to the banquet, I haven't been, but I know a lot of you have, and you've told me how unbelievable it is. Trying to move that on the scale that it is, I'm not saying it's not possible, but you're talking about spending millions of dollars to move
the one thing I can say is this, is that we actually, like, I know there was a contingency plan in place to have that venue until at least Tuesday night. So, like, the argument of, and I'm not saying you're making it, but the argument of, well, they just canceled it because the banquet was Monday night, that actually doesn't hold water. Because if it seemed feasible to finish the race on Tuesday, that was actually in the cards. And what ended up happening forecast wise, it just went downhill. Like, it looked as though it was going to be like a Thursday. It was horrible. I mean, it really was. It absolutely, unequivocally sucked. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like, it was soul crushing, but I don't see a feasible option for the teams or for the company for that matter. In reality, that was any better.
And even at the people I did see, they posted the red carpet photos today. And of course, I'm looking at the comments, and a huge portion of them are like, oh, we made sure to have this, but what about the champions? And there are so many things that happen behind closed doors that even as a person who literally works in that building, and I'm new there, but I was like you, Brian, on the other side of that window. I wasn't like the Family Guy. I was like this. I was the annoying new person who didn't care. And everybody just kept looking at me, and I'd be like I was obnoxious about it. Glenn Cromwell probably wanted.
I'm shocked to hear that.
I know. It's a weird turn of events for me to act that way at the end of the year. But it was, you could see for the first time in a long time, because I've been on the pro side, and a lot of things have happening on the pro the last few years of getting more vocal. It felt like this was a decision with a few outsiders that there always is. More people were on board with the decision than I feel like NHRA and pro and the teams have had in a really long time. Usually these things take a long screaming match. Like you said, there were jokes. Yeah. Rich was twisting his beard the whole time, but I felt like, and Evan said it to me on the phone yesterday too, you know, regardless of what the decision was, it felt pretty united. And that's how you know that it was the right thing, because there's things that fans don't understand too. What that did to the racetrack. It's not a matter of, is it raining right now? Can we get the track dry right now? What the 3 days of 50-year plus historic rainfall that Pomona, California saw, with temperatures not going over 50-something degrees, you have to know what that takes for them to get that racetrack back to a point that is safe. And so that's why I wanted to touch on it, because again, you can't change the way people think, vote, or religiously feel, but you can inform them in a way to make them be a little bit smarter.
I was 25 years old. I'll never forget this. I was 25 years old when I saw a track operator make the most horrendous decision probably of his life, which was, we're at a race that I was calling, and there was a situation about, should we race, shouldn't we? And so he called all the racers in the grandstands, and he said, those of you who think we should race, sit over here. Those of you who don't think we should race, sit over there. And goddamn, if it wasn't 50-50 to a man, I don't know what. And I looked around and thought, now we're dead. Now we're doomed. And, every guy that wanted to race looked over at every guy that didn't want to race and instantly hated him. And now the track operator is in this untenable position. And at the end of the day, you have to take counsel from the people who are invested in the event. And there needs to be a decision maker, and somebody needs to make the call and do the thing. And, that's Glenn and that's the NHRA guys. And I listen, on days like that, to your point, I'm thankful that it isn't me. And I honestly, and I'm not just saying this to say it, but as I've spent 2 days processing this, I honestly think I would have made the same decision. In the moment, my blood was boiling. It was like, you got to be shitting me. I get to be the COVID year guy and the year with no finals guy. Like, that's who I get to be, like the year with no Santa Claus guy. But at the end of the day, I would have made the same decision with a couple days to reflect on it.
Well, one thing is for certain. Nobody's ever going to all agree. And I have said this before.
Yeah.
I don't know how to win at life, but I definitely know how to lose, and that's by trying to make everybody happy. So, like, if you ever want to lose at anything, that's how you do it.
So let's talk about the champions then, because Coletta, with no qualifying points, he got it done. And that was pretty much going to be the way that it was going to be anyway.
Yeah.
Dallas Glenn. Now, it sucks. These first-time winners like Glenn and Gadsden, you mentioned it with the COVID thing. There wasn't that, like, that one moment of I won this bitch, that they will win more championships. This will not be Dallas and Richard's only championship. But to have that, that's the only thing that I think kind of sucks, because I want to argue amongst the group. I think Coletta would have won it anyway. I think Dallas would have won it anyway too. Greg would have taken it.
Yes.
The one that gets me is the bike one, because it had bounced back and forth. It was Gage's year, and then Gadsden came on strong whenever it came into the countdown. And I was, no offense, Gage, just for a little difference, rooting for Gadsden to win that first championship. But I want to get y'all's thoughts on the what might have been for the bikes.
Could have went either way. I'm not a huge pro stock motorcycle fan. I like watching it, and I always watch it when they race. I don't know all the ins and outs, but it was really good watching everybody trade blows all year. I watched some folks make some tremendous strides toward running better, and then some folks started out hot and went cold. It was going to be fun to watch.
What do you think, Brian?
Look, I think Tony and I were on opposite sides of this one. Tony and I, Tony really had it pinned on Gadsden, rather on Herrera. Like, Tony thought this is it. Like, the guy smells blood in the water. But if you watch what Richard did the whole year, and if you watch what Richard did last year, and he lost a bunch of finals and was this far away from pulling it off, I think he and Eddie had a program, especially in the conditions we would have had out there, to be kind of right on top of where they needed to be. The only time Richard's bike suffered over the course of the whole year was when the conditions got a little wonky. Like, Andrew had a better setup on Herrera's bike, clearly in Vegas. I mean, he was like 400s out on Gadsden for basically the whole weekend. But I really think Gadsden was the guy this year. I think he would have handled business. I don't think Gage would have gone out early. It would have been a winner-take-all final. And for the best thing about this year for me in the entire season was getting to know Richard Gadsden better on a personal level and as a sport, because this dude's got a story like none other. You heard his championship speech. It'll be on NHRA's YouTube page in the next couple of days. It is one of the most vulnerable, revealing, honest things I think I've ever witnessed anybody do in front of a crowd of people in drag racing. I mean, this guy laid out everything he screwed up on in his life. He laid out how he lived in a van, driver. I mean, this guy's the real thing. And,
right.
and a guy with that level of heart does not give back the 21 points, in my opinion.
He had the best speech of the night for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've thought since Richard started driving for them that he would always kind of lie in Gage's shadow. I always felt like, and this is, I'll sum this up in a little bit, but I always felt like Gage would be given whatever it took to win, and maybe Richard would test the shit that they thought might work and might not work, and see if that's going to work and make Gage's bike better. Right. That's just the way it looked.
Sure.
And let's face it, as I don't know Richard, You know, I've said hey to him at the racetrack and whatnot. I know Gage pretty well, you know, but as the same with Antron and those, like they are a minority in our sport, right? You know, so to see these guys come out and do well is good for all of us, right?
Yes, it
you
is.
know, and you know, I don't know Richard's background. I don't know where he's came from. I just know that since he came here in a position where he could have showed his ass for not getting what I felt like was a fair shake. And I'm sure maybe at times, maybe he knew something I didn't know, but I never thought he really got a true fair shake until this year, you know, and at times he didn't have the best bike, right? But he made the difference. It was cool to watch for me. And I agree. I think rolling into the last race, the momentum in the year he's had, I don't think he gives up the 21 points either. I think
that was one of those moments we were robbed of.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, his story is amazing. You know, his uncle Ricky Gadsden is a legend. You know, he ran a little bit of NHRA Pro Stock bike, but he dominated AMA. He ran, you know, he won everything but in the NHRA and has an incredible, you know, Hall of Fame level drag racing career. And you know, Richard's father died when he was very young. You know, the dude was dealt a very bad hand. Mm-hmm. He was dealt a bad freaking hand, and as he's talked about in his speech, there are times in his life where that bad hand became the way he was going to live his life. And ultimately that's not how it went. You know, he's an advocate. He was a member of the Big Brothers, Big Brothers, Big Sisters program. And, you know, he's actually, I believe this is in the works. I'm not going to totally go into the details, but the guy's going to go to Philadelphia, where he's from, for some pretty significant city honors in the next couple of weeks, which is going to be epic for our sport and for him. Awesome. So, yeah, it's great. Yeah.
You think about how many kids, you know, like him, and, you know, race, color doesn't matter, that are dealt the hand that kid's dealt and go completely the opposite way, right? And no fault of their own, right? You know, that they're dealt a bad hand and stuff doesn't work. And to see somebody like him, like those are feel goods. You know, if I was to go, you know, one day get in a funny car or something and go win a championship, would it be cool? Absolutely. And we would all think it was cool. But, you know, I'll say it. I've been handed a lot of what has made me successful, right? Really nice equipment. My dad's paid for the majority of everything I've ever done when it comes to the sport of drag racing. You know, and to see somebody like him do it from where he came from, like you don't write them that good. You know, they write themselves.
Now he's a champion, and that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, look, it's a long saying, but I'll shorten it up. But it came from this guy 100 some years ago from Europe. But the short version of it is, we have done so much with so little for so long, we can now do anything with nothing. And Richard lived a life where he did a lot with a little for so long. He did anything with nothing, and then he got a chance to do something with everything, and he actually scored on it. And so if that ain't earning it, I don't know what is. So, yeah.
Wait till when you see the NHRA, they're going to put out all the speeches. I agree. That's the one. And if you notice, he was the only one that didn't turn in a teleprompter, didn't look down once. It was so authentic and straight from his guts that oh yeah, that was funny. When he said, "Oh wait, I screwed this up." Whoever's back there with the teleprompter, scroll back.
Scroll back. I forgot the sponsors.
That was awesome. But I do. The reason I wanted to talk about that is because I do feel like, for Richard's sake and for, like, Austin, you dominated. We knew you were going to win it. Coletta knew. But for Dallas Glenn and Richard Gadsden to kind of have that moment of elation of we beat somebody to win it, but they had it all year.
I'll be honest. I don't know. You guys may totally disagree, but the way we were going to go into E1 off the trailer, Matt Hagan had a legitimate shot, you know, because Proc's car is so fast and makes so much friggin' power, and that track was going to be so sketchy. Like, I really do think in my mind, and this is part of the reason I'm so crushed when we didn't get a shot at it. It's like, in my mind, that might have actually happened.
It could have happened, because when they are that fast, it is so hard to get them to. Yeah. You don't know how to run over here. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You just don't know where it's at.
Yeah. And he was going to run Hunter Green and Del Worsham's car, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like a decent rig over there. Yeah.
No, that was really cool too, because if you guys in the chat don't know how this works, so the World Finals has a different structure for how you run if there are no qualifiers. And
It's all the races, not just the finals. That's
the finals.
no, that's every race.
No, every race.
In the countdown.
In the
Every race in the countdown.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Go ahead.
So it becomes you run on points, but then when you figure out who's there, okay, if you're in the top 10, correct, then you start to be able to go before somebody who's not in the points, correct?
Correct.
So Del Worsham is entered and wasn't obviously anywhere in the points. He's only done
Who's
one
30th?
race.
Yeah.
And it was going to be Jeff Deal, right?
Jeff Deal or Jason Rupert. I think Jeff Deal. Yeah.
So Del Worsham, being the smart guy that he is and knows the system, gosh dang, his back hurt that day. And Hunter Green was the backup driver, and that shifted everything. And I love that because that is playing the most hefty game of chess, sitting down at an Uno table. It was just freaking awesome, but it changed everything.
And the double down is it was going to be Julie Natus until they realized Hunter Green was there and Hunter was ahead of Julie. And if he put Julie in the car, I guarantee you Jeff Deal would have put Hunter in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
It is. It was palace intrigue, man. It was like the Game of Damn Thrones going on out there. We got none of it. Sucked.
And that's what happens when you have nothing else to do. We were all sitting there without racing for 3 days, and everybody's thinking of the ways that this is going to happen. But you're right, that could have been. But I did love what Matt Hagan said in his video, because I know that they talked to Tony Stewart privately because he was one of the ones that had an outside shot of winning that deal.
Yeah.
And Matt's video was awesome because he said, yes, could we have won it? Could the chips have fallen a different way on Sunday that day? Yes. But he won 9 races and I won, what do you win, 2 or 3?
3, yeah.
And the countdown is made for those reasons to where that doesn't matter. But I think that he slept okay that night because of the way that was. And I thought that was really big.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about Coletta. I want to talk about a couple of things at the banquet, Brian Lohnes.
Sure.
One, is that opener video going to go on social?
I hope so. I don't know if it will because it has pop music in it. And a lot of times, obviously, if you post stuff on social, pop music gets dinged. But I'm glad you liked it. Hopefully we do run. I'm gonna poke him in the side.
One of the greatest things, and I'm glad that I saw it at dress rehearsal and not just there because people were still chatting. And I was at Erica's table, so we were in the back of the room, and you couldn't really hear much. But so what this was, guys, was Brian was penning literally a letter to Wally of 75 years. And it talked about the Coletta boys are as strong, if not stronger than ever. Connie's smile is wider than ever. And they showed him. We showed Brittany Force as a young girl. Now she's the fastest woman. Talked about we're still jawing and brawling. And there was I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. It was one of the most poetic things. I don't know how you can sum up where we're at in our sport in that was 90-second video, 120-second video. And
something like that, yeah.
We were seeing all these clips, but then you're seeing Brian at a table, and I would have loved to see the outtakes of this. You see Brian at a table, and he's literally writing it, but then he'll look up and then he said a joke and he did a but it was one of the coolest things. And take the music out like they do the intro videos, whatever, that has to see the light of day because it was incredible. Second thing I want to say about the banquet, your jacket, purple.
The douche, man, Carducci's tuxedo. This guy's the guy. You walk in there, you don't get a choice. He puts some on you. He swears at you. He talks in the third person about himself. He's a living Seinfeld character. If you've never been to Carducci's tuxedos and been fitted by this guy, you've not lived a life yet. This guy is the guy. It's one of my favorite freaking things to do every goddamn year. It is the best. Yeah.
He tried to put Spencer in all sequence, and I said, not this year, but next year. So he pulled Spencer to the back of the room. He's like, I'd like to see him in the back, and made sure that I wasn't bullying him into wearing something he didn't want to wear. But that was awesome.
You would never do that.
Never. And 3, you don't write anything down, you fucking psycho. How do you know what you're going to say? You have no teleprompter. You write nothing down. I was stressed out all night watching you.
I guess I just know what I'm going to say before I get there. I don't know.
It all works out so perfectly. I had 90 seconds and a teleprompter, and I was sweating backstage.
Well, listen, this is not a coaching exercise, but you know what you wanted to say.
Yeah.
Right?
I could have said it had nothing shown up.
You know what you wanted to say. So to me, Like my mental exercise on the champions is like I know what I think about the guy. I know what I feel like he is as a person. I know what I feel like he's done this year, and then I go out and I just say it. I put it together as I speak, and I feel like that to me is that's. And again, it is. I exercise this muscle, thankfully, a lot more than many people do. Like that. That's the thing. I in theory, I do it probably 30 something weeks a year in some form or fashion, but it's not like to me, I love the idea of walking out there and just having the bullet points in the back of my mind and then filling the gaps in as I go. That's what I like to do.
It was wonderful. And then to me, and then I'll shut up and let you boys ask Brian some shit. To me, the moment of the night, aside from Brian Lohnes' Richard Gadsden's speech, was Dallas Glenn.
Oh, great. The greatest. Yes.
So one of his main sponsors is G Sport, right?
Yeah.
Dallas Glenn, collar all the way zipped, right? Like the cleanest cut guy we have.
Yes. Yes.
With a mouthful. It with his whole chest thanked the G Sport.
He thanked it.
He thanked it. And the whole crowd, like I was like, are we gonna laugh? It was
brought the house down.
It was standing O. People were screaming, clapping, and
Sadie was celebrating.
They showed Sadie. They showed her.
Yeah.
Like it was fucking iconic. And the way that he handled that, I know he was dying inside. And I know he may have been embarrassed going home. And I'm not chirping him by any means because to me, it changed the energy of the show. And then when Tony next was them bringing Spencer out for Rookie of the Year, and Tony Pedregon goes there and goes, I'm not even going to say my joke because G-Spot happened. So here's Spencer. Yeah.
I introduced Tony. I said, and we all know now that Sadie is a very lucky woman. Let's bring out Tony Pedregon to the stage.
It was awesome. And somebody's going to say that I was talking shit. I'm not. It was iconic.
No.
It will live forever.
That's why drag racing is the greatest sport on earth, is because moments like that can happen. And it's awesome.
And look, that night in my mind, and you know this, Courtney, like I always open the show up with kind of a roast and kind of come after some people and fire some shots. You got in there, but it was good. I did say it was the first time we've gotten together since Gainesville that Courtney wouldn't be interviewing the Cal Ripken or the Lou Gehrig of Top End interviews, known as Spencer Hyde. We're breaking the streak tonight. 3,042 races with a Top End interview, but it's not happening tonight. But it was like, that's what that room should be. That room should be, reverent at times, but it should be irreverent at times. Like we've all gone through this, and I understand people at home going like, "Oh yeah, so they had this freaking party so they could get dressed up and hang out." But
we deserve it.
It's the ultimate douchey thing to say. Like until you've lived through it, then you don't really get it. But it really is the thing, right. and that's not just for this. It's for any series. It doesn't matter. Like a track banquet, a guy who wins a Pro ET championship running 12 weekends at his local track. That guy deserves a friggin' party.
Yep.
Anybody that puts the work in and busts their ass, because it's not about the party. It's about all the stuff you did that nobody else friggin' saw. And you deserve to put on a freaking tuxedo, have a couple of drinks, and hang out with your buddies and bust balls because you earned it. That's what that is.
Yeah, it's always the people who have never had to live through a season of racing cars for a living that have the best advice about racing cars for a living.
That's a fact.
Sorry.
Where'd you go, buddy?
Well, I'm not too good with computers.
You think?
I type with one finger.
I've seen a couple people comment on it that Tony and Erica not doing their Islands in the Stream duet. That was pretty funny too. And he also said, y'all who weren't there, Josh Hart obviously not here tonight because it might seem Richard Freeman bought his table. So there were some doozies, and I was cackling in the corner. So Brian, very well done.
In my mind, is like if you got the guts to strap yourself into a car that goes 340 miles an hour, some guy telling a couple of jokes should not hurt your feelings. Right. That's always my mindset. Maybe I'm wrong.
I felt honored to be a part of it. I literally looked at him and I go, "We made it. I made the intro."
Brian, and I'm glad you're on because I feel like you could give us some gold in regards to this subject. But they've announced that John Force is retiring. All three of us in attendance at Virginia that day for quite literally the end of an era, right? We didn't know it at the time, but that was the last run we'll see him making a funny car. And you've watched, Brian, the sport evolve for decades, I would say.
Yeah.
Most of the time from behind the glass, in
Sure.
the tower of some podunk racetracks, some of the nicest ones in the world. And from, I guess, your vantage point from up there, what do you think separates drivers who, I guess, quite literally survive drag racing and the ones who actually, like John did, build a legacy?
That's a great question. I mean, that's a great question, and the answer to it, I think, is in multiple parts. But I think the thing that John figured out, John figured out a way to take what was where he grew up in the 1970s in match racing and actually turn that into a professional act, or to have somebody pay him to keep that act going. And I say act in a respectful way. John. The second part of the answer is John was unapologetically John for his whole freaking life. Up until this announcement, you understand, this was Brittany's press conference to announce her retirement. He was in the elevator going up to the room and looked at the people in the elevator who had been asking him for over a year, when are we going to plan and announce this? And he looked at them and said, I'm going to announce my retirement today. And that's what he's always been. So right up until the last freaking minute, and look, we need to clarify, he's retiring from driving a car. He's still running John Force Racing. That is still his business and everything else. And, it was kind of funny because some people internally said, well, why is anybody making a big deal out of this? We kind of all knew. And the answer is, we might have all known, but millions of people, literally millions of people at home, saw this man as a superhero for 40 freaking years.
I mean, they said the same thing when he crashed and got hurt last time. Oh, he's done. He's done. He's done. He's not coming back.
The Dallas crash would have killed all of us but him.
For sure.
Yeah. And so that idea of why is this a shock or why is this big news? It's big news because the people that love him, we get to interact with him. We get to know him in a way that other people don't get to know him. But the people that love him as a fan, maybe they've never even been to a race, but they just watch him on TV for 30, 40 years. They didn't know this. They were sitting at home going, I hope he's getting back in next year. So this was a big piece of news.
I think it was also for him too, because, and this is me speaking, I've never talked to him since about it, but I did that 2.5 hour shop walkthrough with him at PRI the year before his accident. And I feel very blessed. That was one of my first big journalistic moments for me of doing that. And he said a lot of really incredible things that are core memories to me. And one of them, we were standing right by Eric Medlin's car body. And he said, I will die before I retire. We have it on air. It's insane. They are going to have to drag my body before I will ever say those words. And he's said that in the media a million times. He said it in his retirement speech even. He said, I said it 40 times, they're going to have to kill me, yada, yada, yada. But I think that it was a lot for him too. And those of us who know him and who've been on the inside of this, hearing him say it. Yeah, we knew. We could see it when you talk to him, all the things. He will make a recovery. But to hear him say it, I think, did something for me personally as a friend, as a fan, because we'd heard him say for so long that he would have rather died in this thing. And for somebody who doesn't know him, can probably think that that's an ignorant thing for a human being to say, that he would be disappointed. But in that hospital room more than 4 or 5 times, he was motherfucking everything because he survived that, right?
No, I think he, and this goes back even to 2018 when they had that horrible season where he was blowing up everything left, right, and center and crashing everywhere. And I was at the time, on the event side of things with NHRA, I was at the top end. He had this crazy, you can go back and find it, this crazy crash at Route 66 in Chicago where I think the throttle hung open, the thing went to the right, climbed up on the wall. I mean, the thing's at full throttle, it's on fire, it's all over the place, and he gets out of it at the top end, and he looks me square in the eye and yells into the microphone, I will die in this car until I let it, beat me. And, there is a part of me that thinks John Force somewhere in his psyche had this Viking funeral thing in him. And, I don't think he feels cheated out of it to be here with his family and his kids and his grandkids now. But
part of him.
Maybe. I mean, it's a crazy thing, and I'm glad he's still alive. I'm glad he's still motivated to do what he does. And how many guys have we seen turned out of this sport when one bad thing happens to them?
No, yeah.
Right? I mean, between Lyle, you included. I mean, we can put you in this class. There is every reason in the world for you to look at drag racing with hatred and anger and disgust. There really is, and John Force has had that reason for decades, and that proves to me like who's the racer and who isn't. Because when some guy who's a stroke has one bad thing happen to him and he just runs for the hills and sells all the shit in 10 seconds, the guy's not a racer.
Right. That's a fact.
Yeah.
It is kind of,
right.
I don't know if ironic's the right word, but whatever gets you in your feels that they did that together at the same time. Because again, with the banquet, a moment that they had at the beginning was they recognized Brittany, for if this is her last time, if it's not, whatnot. And they did the same thing with John and everybody straight up, right? Like, and you can't not. It's kind of cool and kind of sad and however you want to think about it. But then him and Brittany are riding off, like the Force name is kind of riding off together for a second in the driver's seat. But
yes,
you look on the other side of it and it's going to be a very healthy team. There's still announcements to be made of things that are happening over there. I think it's going to be one of the healthiest John Force racings that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, look, I think the idea that there's a part of this where the idea that the guy can put aside the notion of driving the car again allows him to do what he's been in some ways more successful than anybody at. I mean, we can look at what Don Schumacher built, which was this incredible colossus of a team. It was just done in a different way. Like John Force still is the guy who owns that team. Like it's not like 28 different sponsors. Like everything still goes through one guy over there, good, bad, or otherwise. That is still very much John Force Racing.
I think so. John Force is an entertainer first. Like he's a showman, right? And he understands the show and show business. As a team owner, I hope that we get to see some of that show business, come through in a team ownership.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I think he has the ability to influence people. I think. I do think we're going to see that in some form or fashion. But yeah, no, it's a fascinating thing. And it's to Courtney's point, you got a couple of weeks before the next big shoe drops over in a good way at John Force Racing. And a couple weeks after that, I think there's something else happening that very few people know about at this point that is going to be cataclysmic.
I only know of one more shoe.
No.
Oh, Courtney's having a stroke right now. She's
There is a shoe the size of Godzilla's foot that's coming.
Going through the creek.
No kidding.
Courtney will not sleep tonight. She's going to be on. She was like, I will not rest.
She better put the antennas up and try to get it going. But I'm telling you right now, it's pretty well locked down, and there is. A lot of people busted my chops because I said it on the NHRA Insider, like alluded to it. And I'm not just playing hide and seek here. I literally cannot say it because it would be bad to say. But I'm telling you right now, there is something coming. Depending on if the word escapes early, it'll be earlier, but probably early January either way. But there is a nuke floating around out there that's gonna pop. That's all I can say.
That is awesome.
I love our sport. I love the off season.
I do too. And I was worried we weren't going to have like a crazy one because it started way too early this year. Thank you so much, Richard.
Yeah.
It started way too early, but there has been plenty. But I kind of miss just reading stuff on the internet, like being inside, knowing it's fun and like pretending when we're on air and saying things without saying things. Like it's a fun game that I like, but I do like the holy shit surprise when you log on Facebook and it's just right in your face. So maybe I won't try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try a little bit.
You should try.
She will have this figured out before the end of the show.
Now there's more. I got the CMAs are on pause in the background.
The problem with Courtney is she has dirt on too many people. She knows everybody.
Well, that's what you got to do. It's like, hey, it would be a real shame if this happened. So why don't you just let me know what's going on?
Remember that time in 2007 when you got drunk in that bar? I got photos of that.
Yeah, I don't want to have to do it, but
But what do you want me to do? Yeah.
No, well, that's awesome. A lot of good stuff coming down the pipe. I think PRI will find out a few things, and
absolutely, yeah.
Then it'll go. But it's wild that we're even already here. So
Lohnes, what do you think about Rockingham?
Listen, I love it. I love it. Rockingham was the first place 20 some years ago I ever got paid to travel to announce a drag race.
Oh, yes.
Great spot in my heart. Here's what I like. The Rockingham, the MIR, and the SGMP move is a sign that we have a soul, right?
Yeah.
And there is nothing wrong with ZMAX. As you guys know, you've raced there. Maybe sometimes with bad memories, Stevie, but we've all raced it. We've all been there.
I got good ones there too, baby.
Yeah, but there is nothing wrong with the mega track. There's nothing wrong with it. But look what happened when NASCAR went back to North Wilkesboro. Look what happened when NASCAR went to Rockingham the
Yes.
track.
Yep.
This is where people want to go. It is how they want to experience what we do. And I'm all in. And I know that from what I know internally, we're approaching this what I would consider the right way, and that if you want to come, you probably want to buy a ticket before we get there, because
you want to get a ticket. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be it's going to be a World Cup situation like at MIR, where it's like you're going to have a pre-bought ticket to get into place. I'm okay with that. It's going to look killer on TV. It's great places for us to be, but I love it.
Racing surface is fantastic. It's going to
It
be
is
fast.
good.
So it's not like we're going to a dump that's a small track.
Yes.
Like that track, if we have weather, we'll produce records. Like, it's good.
Yeah, and look, they're gonna make some changes there. Walls are gonna get a little higher. I think they're gonna move the fence in a little bit, probably to. My guess is they'd move it into the base of where the stands start now to get a little more clearance there. But it's a spot. And it's one of those, like, when people ask, like, what races should I go to? It's like, if I knew we were going to these three places the next year, I'd tell you these three places right now, because you're going to get that, like, straight up in your face experience. That is what what we do is all about. I
don't know of anywhere that we race on the tour now that you can get that close.
No, Epping, even Epping's a little more spread out than that. Epping's pretty close, but Rockingham is straight up on top of the damn racetrack.
Looking down at them.
Yeah.
It's like a mix between Bristol looking down at the racetrack and standing in the pits. I mean, it's awesome.
And that place will produce a different genre of fan too, right? Like,
dude, they're the Rockahemians. They're their own species of human.
I was talking.
They will be camping there on Monday, the week of the race.
The week before.
Telling you.
And there will be less. I was talking about this to somebody the other day, and there's nothing wrong with the kids that go there, and there will be less kids carrying around used tires and more kids carrying around used rods and pistons and shit. It's a different deal. Like, those kids are like, fuck the tires, man. I want something out of the internals of that thing. It's going to be
the first time. The first
45 minutes from my house.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
The first time I went there, I asked the fans if the fence was to keep us in or them out.
Probably a little bit of both.
Probably a little bit of both. Yeah.
We have a different genre of fan everywhere we go. We're going to get another taste of it at Valdosta. We're going to hit Maryland, I think, which is cool, because also, like, silly season, I feel like everything's been kind of crazy this year, where maybe, and it's the magic of the 75, right? Like, we have a really big year coming up and we have all of these changes. But Brian, maybe you can tell, when was the last time 3 tracks were added to the schedule?
Like 1974 or something like that. Like when it expanded from like 4 to 8 races in the early 70s would be like that number. And look, for the 75th especially, I like us going to places where people want us to be there, and there's a value to that. And I don't know, people are like, well, how can you trade up with this for that? And as you guys know, it doesn't matter what the number of seats are at a venue. It matters who shows up, whether the people are actually into what you're doing, and 3, like, what kind of surface they have to produce. And all 3 of these places we're going are fast as blazes. And with
if you like the intimacy of drag racing, you want to go to a smaller track. I'll give you an example. We used to have this bar and grill in our hometown called Somewhere in Augusta. Greatest place in the world. Best food. It was in this little closet corner in a shopping center. Packed. Could never get in the door ever, ever, ever. They move out of there and build this mega restaurant. It's out of business in 6 months. Because they lost the intimacy of it. Well, Rockingham's got it all. It's going to be good.
It does. Yeah.
South Georgia's got it all. It's going to be good.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you have motivated track operators. I think that's an unsaid thing as well. Like, Royce Miller, one of the greatest of all time at doing this. Raul Torres and his wife are amazing at South Georgia Motorsports Park. And then again, Dan and Al down at Rockingham. These are people that this is how they make their living. And, we've talked about this on the racer level a lot, but we don't talk about it as much on the track operator level as much. But like, the hardest core people in drag racing are the people that feed themselves with drag racing. And that goes for the guys behind a wheel, for the guys tuning the car, and certainly for the guys running the racetracks. And, again, I'm not taking a shot at large corporate racetracks, but when there are 6 levels of management and, there's not that much urgency to get anything done versus the guy who's trying to pay for his kid to get through his next year of college, that's the difference between the good and the great to me. And if you look at family run racetracks and the Bandamiers, I know they sold their place, they're working on place 2, but we go to the Baders, we go to the Raul and his wife, we go to Victor and Cletus now down at Bradenton, we go to the Fioritos up in Seattle. Like, you name me a family that runs a racetrack and I'll show you a racetrack that's well run.
Yeah, speaking of like track operators, I'm in Brazil. Dan tracked me down to tell me he owed me $1,000 from the Pro Mods at the Rock last week. I didn't even know it paid any money. I just went to test. He's like, "Hey man, I got some money for you. Who else is gonna do that?" I mean, I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, pocket that shit.
So the moral of the story, friends listening, buy your tickets to Rockingham as soon as possible. They will go.
When we on the NHRA Pro Mod board had a sniff that it was a possibility, I was like, just put us on the TBD and we're going to roll the dice. I was like, I don't know where it's going to be, but stick us on the TBD.
Yeah. So that's going to be good.
It is. And then you get the best of both worlds. Like you said, you got the Vegases and the big stuff. Go to both. And I guarantee you walk out of there liking the little one better.
Well, yeah, it's like if you're a NASCAR fan, why wouldn't you want to be at Daytona? Why wouldn't you want to be at North Wilkesboro? Like, why wouldn't you want to have those two different experiences with the people that you follow on a week-to-week basis that you love watching and seeing? I mean, why would you not want that? It's what it should be. It's what racing always was for decades and decades, and then we got away from it. And as everything goes in cycles, doesn't matter what it is in auto racing, it always goes in these big circles, and we're kind of on the other side of another one now.
Very exciting time.
Right. Before you get off, because I know it's something you're passionate about, and it's something that I am too. And I fear what's coming from the younger generation. I'm doing what I can locally. I'm involved with the high schools that have brought the automotive program back into their curriculum.
Sure.
I don't even know if you call it a race car, the being that beer money is. I take it to these schools and unload it, and we fire it and we spool it, and and the kids stand around and talk about it. But I pay close attention to the kids that are there, and and you can, most of the time I can look at them and be like, you don't give 2 fucks about what I'm doing out there. Now there's 2 or 3 of the 15. Yeah. There's 2 or 3 that do, and I've had one kid that came out, so actually came to the track, that came to a race the following weekend and kind of hung out around the pit and whatnot. You've called a lot of, we're back to John Force a little bit. You've called decades of him running, or a while of decade of him running, I guess. One, do you think that we just saw the end of an era, and what do you think drag racing looks like without John Force in it? Right. And then 2, I don't know how you think the storytelling needs to change, but what needs to evolve, right? What to bring the next generation of fans in. And part of that answer may be what we just talked about. Take the professional level and go to the grassroots racetracks where these fans can interact and not feel like they're watching from the nosebleeds in an NFL stadium, right? Like, how do you think we do that? Because it scares me, before I turn you loose, when I started driving at the higher level, Radio versus the World type stuff, I was one of the youngest, if not the youngest, to sit in the seat, right behind the steering wheel. When we go to Bradenton this winter, with the exception of the Ethan Steddings and stuff, that's still the case. I'm still one of the younger to sit behind the steering wheel, and that's a problem, right? Like, what do we do?
Yeah, it's been the question that every generation of drag racer has asked of the generation coming behind them. It really has been. It's been that way forever, and it's a valid question. It's a good question, and I look at my son Jack, who follows guys, like the Snot Rocket. He follows those guys religiously. For him, like that's kind of his John Force. As John Force was to me, like those guys are doing the stuff that he follows. So I appreciate the fact that there is a level of interest that's different than what I have, and that's what's going to like move the future of the sport forward. But the bigger question and the bigger thing is, where does the money come from? And what I learned at SEMA this year, which is really interesting, I sit in the SEMA stage and do all these interviews all week with all these people, and you can approach that job in a couple different ways, which is like, all right, I'm just going to sit here for 10 minutes and BS with this guy about whatever he's inventing, or you can listen to what people are saying, and you can understand over the course of 3 or 4 days what 50 or 60 conversations with business leaders mean. And that's the way I approach it. And what was fascinating this year is every single one of them that was a business leader and executive said that Generation Z, which whatever they are, the next one coming behind us, I guess, is the tool belt generation. That's what they're saying, because as markets move and as things move, we now have this massive shortage of tradespeople, this massive shortage of craftsmen, of jobs that need to be filled with people, ultimately the jobs that will pay a great amount of money and will give people great opportunity. So Carlisle Tools, having Maddie drive that Top Fuel dragster is not an accident. That wasn't, and Ron Capps, to his credit, when they came to him and talked about, hey, maybe we can expand this thing with Carlisle, like who would be a good fit? It's like, we need somebody that's in their 20s, somebody that can talk to this generation of people, somebody that isn't actually a mechanic. And as it turns out, it's a 20-some-year-old woman who builds alcohol funny car engines between rounds and builds the clutch with her sister before she actually gets in the car and drives it. And I say that, and if you look back in history, you go to Hot Wheels. Everybody goes to Hot Wheels. They go to Don Prudhomme and they go to Tom Mongoose McEwen. They say, well, Hot Wheels changed the sport. The reason Hot Wheels changed the sport is because they looked around and said, we need to talk to these kids. And if we sell them this kid's toy, they're going to buy the toy. Well, instead of now selling the kids toys, they're selling them wrenches. And I am not kidding you. When I had these dozens of conversations for a week at SEMA, every single one of these companies was like, this generation is the one that's going to trade school. They're looking at enrollments. They're looking at all these different trends, and they're seeing that happen, which is, for me, a very heartening thing. But, the young guys may not be running for a pro mod yet, but it's like J.R. Gray said in his championship speech at the banquet. It's like, I was a grudge racer and a low-level guy, and my dying father looked at me and said, go buy a pro mod. And that's how he found his way in. And that's how the next generation, for their own way, will find their way in. It's going to be a different path for everybody. But, Alan Johnson once told me at dinner one time, he said, this sport is the cockroach of motorsports.
It will not die.
He said, you will never kill it. And he was
I
right.
think,
and there's no way it looks the same. It doesn't look the same. Sorry, Stevie. It doesn't look the same 10 years. It doesn't look the same 10 years from now, but it will exist 10 years from now. And people will be doing what they are doing with what's in front of them. And whether that's pro mods, whether that's Top Fuel dragsters, whether it's cars like the Snot Rocket, that's what it's going to be.
And I've said this for about the last 5 years. I think a lot of perception about participation and negativity is just a lull in the mechanic side of the generations. Like when I was a kid, the generation come after me, if you didn't go to college, you were a loser, right? Yep. So you all went to college and got a degree in some bullshit that you never used. Well, you're not going to learn how to work on your lawnmower or your Mustang and, over there doing that. The generations now, like you said, they're working with their hands, and they're going to make $150,000 or $200,000 a year working with their hands, right? So what are they going to do with that money? They're going to buy. It's coming. We're just it's ebbs and flows, baby. But you're right. Yeah. Drag racing is the cockroach. It will not die.
No, and it's like we, as human beings, if you look through history, we do things. We all run in one direction for a while, then we run another direction for a while, and then we all run down the middle. And that's how it goes. It's like we're seeing the same thing with social media and how that's changing, where it was like, the attitudes and how people approach that are different. And, there's a balance, there's a middle road coming here, but the good thing about, where we live and the time we live in is like, if you want an opportunity, you can still find it here. Like there's no excuse. There's no excuse for not succeeding. If you live in the United States, there's no excuse for not succeeding to a degree. I mean,
That's 100% true.
unless you're in some extenuating circumstances that are bad, I respect that. But if you're going to apply yourself and you get an education and you do what you can do, you can make a living.
I told Melissa, I said, I will strongly encourage Nash not to go to college for a 4-year business degree. Instead, I'm going to buy him a panel van, put Nash's HVAC on the side because of the experience I've had in the past year, and tell him to go make all the money you fucking want to make, son.
If you're a plumber, an HVAC technician, or a contractor and you want to work,
absolutely,
you have no salary cap.
Yep.
You can make as much money as you want.
Yeah.
You can just as much as you want.
Especially right now, because nobody my age knows how to work with their hands. They all went to college.
Right.
And that's it. And that's the role that Gen Z is going to fill. Like this Gen Z idea is going to fill this basically 10 to 12 year gap of people that ditched out on the idea of trades and largely ditched out on the idea of trades and craftsman style jobs. And that's what Gen Z is ready to dive into. And it's one thing if one guy says it, it's one thing if two people say it, but when you have an entire industry of people that are in different spots of it are all looking in the same direction, that is not a mistake. There's always a dumb guy in every room, and I'm probably it here, but there's not
definitely not.
There's not 25 dumb guys in the room at SEMA that are running large companies that are looking down the road saying, it's coming. We just have to manage our time to get there.
Imagine Brian saying he's the dumb guy in the room on Shake and Bake.
With me?
Me and him?
God. The comments probably get fired up when I say this, but I believe it, and I don't want to say because of his accomplishments yet, but I believe Cletus McFarland, Garrett Mitchell, is very John Force-ish in what he does for the generation and the type of people that watch what he does. It's arguably the most recognizable apparel anywhere, right? It's everywhere. When I go somewhere and I'm walking through Lowe's or something, like the Cletus shirt, bam, Cletus, bam, Cletus, bam, Cletus, some guys that are in the sport heavy, deep, Stevie and I are buddies with him, but they're like, it's just hell yeah, brother, and all this bunch of bullshit. But dude,
works.
No.
It works, man. And he's taken, he reinvests, he's constantly reinvesting from, the YouTube stuff and all. I mean, it's every time you turn around, and now he's building high caliber badass shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like, when if I make it to 60, 70 or 80 years old, that I will look back and I think that the impact he's already had and will continue to have is going to be freaking substantial when we look back at it.
He is David, I'm still in line for Freiberger, but Cletus is the modern Robert E. Peterson. And Peterson, what Peterson did was take this hot rodding thing and bring it to the masses and make this magazine, which was the mass communication of the age in the 40s and early 50s. But that's what Cletus has done on his stage. And, when you talk to older guys that don't get it and want to attack this guy, it's hilarious to me because I never argue back. I just sit there and nod my head like I'm talking to a dog because it's like this guy's a friggin' idiot. Like this is a stupid person that's disconnected. But the reality of the situation is both my kids love cars and they consume more automotive media in a day than I could have in a month. I would get my magazines like all of us did as kids. We'd get our magazines in the first week of the month and you'd tear through your drag race, your whatever, Super Stock, Drag Illustrated, your Hot Rod, whatever, and it would be done by the end of the week. And then you'd wait for the next month. Meanwhile, every hour of every friggin' day, there's some new piece of automotive content to consume for people that want to get into it now. And so, the magazine era, which I loved and I was, be able to participate in, is magic for me still because that's when I grew up. But automotive media, as it is right now, as fractured as it is bigger than it ever has been and more accessible than it ever has been.
Yep. I still love reading a good car magazine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just ripped through the old Digger today because I'm 100 as well.
Yes, you are.
And I'm only home like once every 3 months, so I really get like 4 at a time. It's wonderful. Shut up. Wow. Anyway. Well, dang, I knew this was going to be preachy when we had Brian Lohnes on the show, but I didn't know we were going to start generational warfare on motorsports. I love it.
Where else
Yeah,
would it
might as
happen?
well. Might as well. Yeah.
We do have a very important question that we ask every Shake and Baker.
Lohnes has already answered this.
I was going to see if it would change.
Okay.
I forgot I had this.
Because I thought last time he kind of swayed, didn't he? He kind of swayed a little.
I'm not
You
sure.
go back to the tape.
I have to go back and look.
Were you a fajita guy or no fajita guy on the last one? You were fajita guy.
He lives. He lives. The last time I saw that guy was in Atlanta when he was strapped to your roll cage like 6 years ago. I'm glad that he lives. This is
Traveling
amazing.
Bacon is still alive.
Dude,
I've had him at every NHRA race in my book bag, and I always forget to give him to you. But
Look,
I'm glad you got him. I thought he had lost.
hell no, man. I still got this unit.
But wasn't there an incident when the first race we put him in a roll cage? Wasn't there a problem? Like the thing failed to start. Wasn't there some weird thing that happened when the first race I had?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I got 2 all down penalties in the same race. It kicked the Wiggins clamp off,
Yes.
and I completely just yard sale the fucking starting line, like burnout 1. And then it's Q4. I'm not in the show. That thing burns a piston at like 800 feet, and I legged it to the finish line.
I remember thinking this is why the rule makers at NHRA hate us, is because of you.
a little bit.
That's why I never asked about Traveling Bacon again. Because I thought at this point that thing is dead. I thought
No,
they had,
man.
like Joe Boo in Major League had exercised his spirit from the automobile. I thought that was
Anything
it.
that has
still
to
got
do, anything that rides with Lyle has 9+ lives, so it's fine.
Yeah, it does.
And there's I do like fajitas. I'm not gonna run from it. I do
Okay.
like.
Wow, you suck
like-
again.
I do like.
Man. Look,
And
I'm
you know
not
what's
wavering
worse?
from that.
He said that he did, and then he said he did again, so that's even worse.
I listen. I'm backing it up. I'm doing it. I'm consistent.
Well, the
Me and
man,
Lohnes are old enough. We know what we like to eat. Fajitas
Listen,
are
I have-
good. We don't have to run.
Yeah.
We're
I have-
secure in our fajita hood.
I have
How
video
about it?
proof that you can go to a Mexican restaurant and ask for them to bring it out, not on that steamy pile of shit skillet. You can just get it on a plate. So we could all be grown-ups, you know, or it would be nice if you guys would be grown-ups.
Wow, you're one of them guys that if you drink a Bloody Mary, you tell them to cut all the stalks off and no nothing sticking out the top. You don't want it to
No,
look cool.
I want dirt in the bottom of mine. Cheeseburger on top. Yeah, I want the whole 9 yards.
so
I
that's
went
not
to-
just it. That's a no. That doesn't match with your fajita beliefs because that's
Yes,
extra as
it
well.
does. When they bring that nice Bloody Mary out, unless you're looking, you have no idea that I'm getting it. When they fire the fucking skillet up in the back of that Mexican restaurant, it sounds like Hiroshima back there.
Sounds like
everybody
I don't
knows.
like the fireworks in Brazil.
Here it comes.
I thought they were about to bring a big old plate of fajitas out a while ago.
Yeah.
Well,
The steam is good. The steam is good for skincare.
Yeah.
You know, you get a little
That's what happened to your face.
Yeah.
little
Bad,
steam, little beef tallow. You get the whole thing going on.
bad
There
for
you
trying
go,
to
Lyle.
find the G spot later there. So
You cut the crust off your sandwich.
no, I don't. I do like a good Uncrustable though.
Yeah.
That was right on. No, the
I've got a 3-year-old.
that's true.
All right, I got a controversial topic. Lohnes, I'll give you the option of being on for it and commenting or running
Okay.
for the hills before we do it.
Oh boy, what?
All right, hold on. I got a controversial guy to match this topic right here.
Ew.
Jerry. What a guy. Yeah, your fingers are.
Speaking of some steam.
Yeah.
All right, anyway. Yeah.
What's your topic, Stevie?
Okay, so I was recently looking at our expense spreadsheet for the year and what it costs to do what I do for a living. So I had some of our media team pull up. I was basically looking at other professional sports, what it takes to get to the pros. Once you're at the pros, what it takes to compete. And then once you compete, what you earn. And I noticed some disparities in the deal. So this is going to probably piss off some people, but Molly, fire up my little graphic. Okay, so if you're going to go be an NBA player, this is on average now. You're going to spend about $40 grand getting to the pros. Once you get there, it's $0 to compete, nothing to enter an event. You make about $170,000 a game. Same thing, Major League Baseball, blah, blah, blah. All right. So the way this come down is because to go pro mod racing, you spend about $1.5 million to $2 million. Once you get there, you spend about $500,000 to $750,000. Then once you get at the gate, the racetrack just rams it all the way in you and knocks you in the head for $3,000 or $4,000, and then you go win $2,500. So my question is, how as a sport can we make it more friendly towards the people spending all the money to have the sport, to encourage when we talk about these youths coming to come race cars? How do we not knock the competitor in the head and get that revenue somewhere else? Like, what would be some creative approaches? Because we all want the racetracks to make money.
Yes.
We all want the promoters to make money. We all want the towns to make money. We want everybody to make money. But right now, the most taxed person in motorsports is the competitor.
And disclaimer, those are averages and estimates. So anybody going,
none of that. That's just what I can.
Anybody going to get their TI 83 plus, chill out.
Hold on, just throw it back up on the screen for a second. Okay, so like the level of absolute bullshit in the first column of this is beyond my own comprehension.
Well, I don't know because I don't play those sports.
But stop it. What is it? You think it costs a family, a kid that starts playing basketball at 5 years old and is in a travel league by the time he's 7, and his parents are traveling across the country weekly by the time he's 10, and then are paying scouts and coaches and camps and specialty leagues and all the other stuff, is a cheaper expense than the NHL?
I don't know. I don't know this.
This is the. I mean,
Oh, I was going to cut you off, but
Well, yeah,
I can confirm that around here, parents spend $80,000 a year on their kids.
bingo. Thank
To
you,
play
Spencer
sports?
Hyde from the top.
Play
Yes,
competitive hockey.
yes.
I thought
Yes.
it'd be like $20 a week or something.
No.
Okay,
No.
all right. So let's just quadruple it or quintuple it. Just say it cost $500,000.
When we go to Bradenton and the entire hotel is filled with kids playing baseball, do you realize that they're paying that every week of their entire life? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So there could be a flaw on my cost to make it to the pros.
Listen. The question you're asking is valid. And there's no way to fix it on every level of the sport. Like, to me, the only answer that I can give you is what the basic math of operating a racetrack says, that I can pay you this much when X amount of people come in my gate, and this is how much I can pay to win the race, right? That's the basic math there. But when you introduce a multiple revenue stream model to everything, which is what multiple sanctioning bodies have now, that's when the game starts to change. And I think the fact of the matter is, whether it's in Brazil or the United States or wherever, maximizing the amount of revenue you can get in. You can't just rely on gate receipts to pay people anymore. There has to be media rights involved. There has to be all these different things involved. But the cost of entry in racing has always been very high. Like, there's a fantasy that, like, well, in the 60s, two guys that worked at a gas station could run a top fuel dragster, and they probably could. And the thing sucked, and it qualified 99th out of a field of 97 cars. Like, yes, they could show up with a car, but when Don Prudhomme and Roland Leong kicked ass in 1965, Roland Leong's family was wealthy, and they hired Keith Black, and they kicked some ass. We can go through history. There is never going to be a separation between money and success in racing, at least to start with. After that, you have the great thing, but there's no.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree in the cost of racing. I know that we all try to mitigate cost.
Yeah.
I just think that, and I don't have the answer. This is just me brainstorming, that we need to start thinking towards, at least when we talk about working multiple revenue streams in, at least something towards. I don't think that the payout needs to be more, or that it needs to be $1 million a race. But I do think that it doesn't need to cost $4,000 or $5,000 to come up and put on the show.
I'm with you on that. Yes.
And I'll just give you an example. If a racetrack owner and promoter, we're going to go have an event, a big, awesome event, and they're going to make, I don't know, we want to make $600,000 or $700,000 and put it in your pocket, and each racer had to come and spend $4,000 or $5,000. would it be bad for the racer not to have to enter and the promoters and stuff to just put $400,000 in their pocket? Or are we as racers, do we need to be better salesmen and sales ladies, to try to generate revenue from other sources to cover that? It was brought up in my end of the year budget meeting, so I figured I would throw out.
I'm sure that's a fun place to be, a Stevie Fast money meeting in November.
Yes, they're like, you have no money. Stop spending it.
But to your point, you're one of, you guys are one of the few groups that are actually exercising the muscle of trying to earn some extra income outside of what the normal deal is. Like, let's be real. It's a great show, but it also is a for-profit enterprise on YouTube. I'm there too. Like I do YouTube stuff because I love to do it. It's satisfying to me. It's my pastime. It's what I do when I'm not at the racetrack, but also it pays money. So it incentivizes me to do it. And I look out at so many race teams and I'm just looking around going like, what the hell are you guys doing? And to go back to the original point here. Yes, the entry fee part of the program has been a sore spot in drag racing for 50 years. And I do believe that it's solvable. And I think it's solvable when it doesn't become a shooting match between the racetrack and the racers. And I don't know who is going to be the smart one to sit down and figure out how to do it. I think Victor is the type of guy that is forward looking enough and awesome enough to be able to sit down with a group of racers and have conversations that maybe some other guys can't because they've been in the business too long and this is just how it goes and you can't change things. I'm not putting it on Victor, but I am saying that I put him in an elite league of people that are doing things at racetracks now that so many people have been unwilling to do or indifferent to doing. But yeah, no, at some point I want to see professional level racers like not have to pay to be the show. I do. Right. I want to see it because it would be a quantum leap forward for this sport. It would be a legitimate quantum leap forward for the sport of drag racing when that thing that has been with us since day one almost can go away.
Yep, for sure.
And it's never going to go away for everybody. It isn't. Right. And I've said this before, I think on this show, like the blessing and the curse of this sport is that every person that comes through the gate thinks that they're the show.
Yeah.
Right. Like the guy with the U-Stock automatic car that I love watching go 14s because it should have run 19s from the factory. He thinks he's as important as a guy like Stevie Fast or as a woman like Courtney Enders or as a driver like, name Matt Hagan. And that's the nature of this thing has been like this, egalitarian, we're all in this together, everybody's equal. But the real math of this is that not everybody's equal in this sport. And it's fallacy to think they are.
We had a pro mod meeting, and we were just talking about airtime. There was a couple folks that were complaining about not getting interviews and airtime. And I just told them, if you want them to put that camera at you, give them something to talk about.
Yes.
And you got to be okay to look like a dumbass, and you got to be okay to fall on your face, and you got to be okay to run over a Christmas tree. And if you're not willing to do that stuff, like you're never going to be great. So I get what you're saying, but it would be, and I think Victor is a forward thinking guy. I think we can have some of those conversations. It's not a make or break deal, but it gets talked a lot about on the grassroots level. And I'm always for anything that gets more race cars running at the track. I want 1,000 more race cars running at the racetrack.
Well, that's it. And that's, there's all, the fact of the matter is the more places there are for people to race and the more cars that go down racetracks, the healthier the sport is. And then the healthier the industry that surrounds the sport is. So that's like, it's you have to be at some point you got to take your emotions out of a lot of these conversations and just look at the basic math. And if you have multiple places to race, and that means there's an extra 500, 600, 700, 800 people a year racing their cars, then that means the sport is better for it, despite what you may think. Yeah.
It means KTR can sell more parts, pistons. I have breaking news.
Right.
I have breaking news right now.
What?
Okay. So some of you really been busting my balls because if you were at Snowbirds last year, you would notice that I pulled up beside an IHRA Camaro with a guy that was on a TV show racing in the street. He was an outlaw. And the man crushed me by a little bit, had my old crew chief tuning on it and whooped me. So since then, I've been in a state of denial about this whole deal, walking around in the dark eating Oreo cookies. And I have devised a plan to make sure that I never, ever, ever get crushed by that car again. The only way that I can guarantee it.
What
You
is
bought it?
Yeah.
Molly. Okay.
Jesus.
So that's the KTR headquarters right there. So Chuck Robinson, All-Star, and the Henderson Racing Team now has added another black vehicle to their fleet of 80s model GM iron. And Chad Henderson is coming to run a little pro mod, a little pro street.
You are a piece of work, Stevie Jackson.
He called me. He's like, "We got to find a car." I was like, "I know one that you need to buy." I was like, I can negotiate it." I called Kai. I said, "Hey, man, I can move this car." I said, "But I need to get this deal done before somebody else buys it." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because I don't want to get whooped by it again. So if I move it in my house where I'm tuning it and running it, I don't have to race it." So anyways, super happy to anytime we get a customer that adds a new race car to field another car in another class, it's great.
That's fucking hilarious, actually.
Chad's
You're a
fired.
lunatic. You're
That's
an
a
absolute
good looking
lunatic.
hot rod.
It is.
Actually,
Great
Jeff
looking
Pierce
car.
took a picture of me sitting in it, and he's saving it as a weapon in case I ever do anything stupid. He's like, "I will post this on the internet if you ever do anything stupid."
Just raining Cheeto dust everywhere.
Got it though, baby.
All over it.
So much IROC is happening.
Well, what else you guys got for Brian? We kept him on way longer than I promised him, and we stole him from his kid.
I have one more rant, and then we can let him go.
Okay.
When is the last time you guys bought a greeting card?
Jesus, Stevie, you're so all over the place.
Well, it's on my list. It's in the
Long
list.
ass time.
Okay, me too. So,
Yeah, it's like
do you know what a? Go ahead, Courtney.
Here in Canada, I'm learning all of the cultural differences. They buy cards for everything. And if you don't get a card, like if it's someone's birthday or anniversary or wherever you're going, Christmas, you show up with a card.
Here's what I can tell you that's happening in the South, especially in Thompson, Georgia, where KTR is. There will never be another greeting card purchased or exchanged ever, because I will handwrite you a note. I will tell you how much I care about you or love you or think that I'm proud of your nephew for graduating from high school. But I am not paying $8.40 for the piece of paper folded in half that some idiot printed some stuff on at the grocery store. Not doing it. I'm out.
Now, listen, I don't support Big Card. I don't support them.
I'm
Big
out.
Card is out. Yeah.
Hallmark has trying to stranglehold the greeting card deal. I argued with the lady. I was like, "This can't cost $8." I was like, $8? She's like, "Yeah." So I bought it, but it was the last one. I put it on my calendar.
$1.29.
Grand opening, grand closing. Go to the grocery store, get you a greeting card. You can buy a 6-pack of beer cheaper than you can buy a greeting card.
It's insane.
I'd rather the beer.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of a get well soon, just a case of beer and tell them to forget
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
I saw that on our agenda, but I thought it was
I was in shock.
metaphor.
As I get older, I'm becoming cheaper. So, like, I hate spending money. I want to buy parts and aluminum, and I think it's cool to pay $13,000 for an engine block, but it's stupid to pay $10 for a greeting
Listen,
card.
this motherfucker will buy the card that beat him just because it beat him, but won't buy a greeting card.
Not
It's
handwritten
principle.
loan for your birthday.
It is. That's exactly right. It's fucking principle.
It's principle.
I hear you.
Principle.
All right,
You
that's
should
your
buy.
rant.
You should buy Kai a thank you card for letting you buy the card.
I'm going to handwrite it. I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to handwrite it and send it to him.
Dip it
on
into
a
your-
chunk of aluminum. Yeah.
Yeah, on a piece of aluminum that I blew out trying to outrun his ass.
A CNC card out of it.
Yeah, be cheaper.
Speaking of nitrous, KTR has nitrous logbooks back in stock at KillingTimeRacing.net. This is worth buying. Molly, I think we got a graphic.
I want to throw one back at you guys, actually. You've asked me a lot of questions. I'm coming back at you guys, specifically
Come on.
Stevie, Lyle. We'll take your opinion as
no.
well, Courtney. What's the take on the KB deal?
So I am. It's a
Deep breaths. Deep breaths make it good. All right, good.
So this directly affects my business because that's my business. I always will choose to have more cars racing regardless of the competition. Like Everybody is saying, oh, it's going to water the competition down. I think we're going to get some new exciting characters in. I think Keith Haney is good for business. He can run his mouth. He's fun to outrun. He can't drive a nail. He's going to get slapped around just like he did last time in NHRA, and that's good for the sport. They're going to produce some good power, and I think anybody willing to invest what I know they're investing sees the value in high-level door car racing, and I love it. I think it's great.
Wow.
I agree, but I said this on the last show. If this type of deal becomes popular, my only fear and reservation is that, let's face it, that's a pay-to-play deal, right? If you pay, you can play. And my fear is that folks that can pay for it but don't necessarily belong in the seat of one could end up there. I know that's the way it is across the board, right? You can do that anywhere, right? Like with the right amount of money, I could go to Gainesville and drive a funny car, right? I could license.
Listen, the consequences don't show up often, but they showed up in Vegas. There are consequences to this, and you're 100% right.
Yeah, and that's my only reservation to this type of deal becoming a thing, right? I think it's great. I agree with Stevie. Like, I think that more than likely you'll get some quality drivers, that will go in there and do the deal. But there is also a chance that somebody could just walk up and say, hey, I want to drive that Pro Mod next year in NHRA. And if they've got the right amount of money, who's going to tell them no?
Well, we have a licensing procedure in place.
Yeah, but
it is designed to do that. Maybe it needs to be tightened up a little bit. Maybe it needs to have a little more requirement. We've talked internally on the board about, going back to a grade point style policy. Maybe not like it was, but like you used to have to earn your way to run here. It didn't matter how much money you had. I think that there's ways to mitigate that. As a community, we know if somebody's getting in a car generally and does not have any business being there. And I think that we just need to maybe be a little more forceful when that happens in a positive way, because just because someone can't drive a Pro Mod today doesn't mean they won't be a world champion in 2 years. J.R. Gray won a championship this year. He couldn't drive a nail 10 years ago, and he's the best one that there is. So we can all get better. So I think we can encourage that growth, but I agree with you, Lyle, that you may have to do something about it. I don't know. What do you think, Lohnes? What do you think, Courtney?
Actually, I want to know what Spencer thinks, to be honest with you, because to me, like, Spencer is unique in this room for this, in that, he's run the class and he's done it as a family operation with a crew that, is a hamburger, a hamburger sandwich type of crew, right? And not demeaning what you guys have done, because obviously you've been highly successful, but I want your take on it because you've done it the hard way.
Yeah, we started racing here with a bunch of buddies, right? Like, we went just like Stevie and Lyle, like, we went to the racetrack, started out small, and as we got to watching the upper classes, especially Pro Mod, we're like, hey, we can do this. And we just started slowly picking away at it and doing it. And I'll tell you, winning a race like the World Series of Pro Mod with a crew that's volunteer, driving the trucks myself and helping the guys set up the awning and do all the things, like kind of like what Dallas Glenn's doing on his Pro Stock car, it's very satisfying. I'm now in a car where I don't do anything, and it's other than pack the parachutes, and I get bored at times. I'm out there watching. Sometimes I just want to crawl under and kick Jake out of the way and hurt the rods in the bottom end, right? But that's not what I'm there to do. But I do miss that side of the grassroots, especially Pro Mod racing. Like, it's just.
Do you think it takes something away from it? Able to come in and run a ride in so many places?
Yeah, in a way.
He's too nice. I had to get out of him what he was trying to say.
I do. I don't. I think that you should have to know how to do the stuff to be in one of these cars.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't.
I think you lose some appreciation. Like, I've done, that's what Spencer's doing in the funny cars, what I've been doing in a Pro Mod for the past 5 years, right? Like, I don't do much, if any, work on them at all, right? I pack the parachutes. If they do what?
But you have, like, you've done it.
I have, but as it's went on, and I've been less involved, I'll be honest, and this is 100% truth. One, I've got 2 kids now, and, and a house and thing, like I'm busy, but it's part of the reason that I haven't raced beer money as much, right? It's almost made me a little bit lazy, right? Because like I walk outside, beer money's still loaded in the trailer. I had to go put antifreeze in it the other day from the last time I ran it. Dude, 5 years ago, absolutely not. It'd have been out. I'd have had it on the Pro Jacks doing something, right? You know, and so part of that, I kind of hate that that's the way I've done it the past, especially 2 or 3 years. It's just kind of made me not appreciate my own stuff as much and won't get. I've lost a little bit of the drive to go hook my truck up to that trailer in my driveway and go to Piedmont on a Thursday night and test and tune.
The flip side of that, you're trying to run a business, right?
Yeah. And that's what I said. It's not all that, right? Like, yeah, I got a business and kids, and
it was less invasive for me to run 20 NHRA races, show up there Friday morning and fly out Sunday night, than it was for me to go racing 10 Pro Mod races. Because when I left for Pro Mod, like I said, I drove the truck, right? Set up the awning, tore it down, drove it home. Like I was gone for a week.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So after hearing what y'all said, I'm sober tonight, so I have real thoughts. After hearing what y'all said, if you've gone through it the right way and this is where you're at in your career and whatnot, it's a good thing and it's a positive. But I think that it opens the door. It opens the door for some unnecessary things and some unnecessary people, which you may get for every 5 that happens. There may be one that shouldn't be there or whatnot. And it's going to be a positive thing. But on my end of the world, what I see what KB did. So at Elite Motorsports, we did the same thing. We started a Pro Mod program. Lyle and Erica are the drivers. It very much as you say, it's not going to, it very much took away from what we were doing and what our job and what our bread and butter was. And I don't know, nor claim to know what the split was or how much Haney bought into it or whatever it was with him standing on stage the other night. You think he bought the whole program, which I thought was unbelievable, but that's just par. I think that it will be interesting to see what it does to KB's bread and butter as they try and go do that, because the shit's not easy. The driver may be able to bring their helmet and checkbook, but what they're going to have to do over there to get everything together to make this a successful program. We had some of the best drivers on the planet of Earth come and drive these cars. We almost killed one of them. We burned them to the ground. We DNQ'd our asses off, happened to stumble into winning the U.S. Nationals one time. So I think it will be a humbling experience for KB.
Look, I think, and to your point, no business on the planet has ever had an expansion that they claim would not detract from their core business that has not detracted from their core business.
Yep.
Never happened. In the history of mankind, any company that's had a larger, no, they're going to be in a separate building on the same property. It's going to be a whole separate thing. Impossible. Because eventually someone gets asked questions, and the 10 minutes somebody would have spent doing their own job, they spent answering a question across the room for somebody else.
Yep.
The bigger question is like, how big will it be? And I'm not saying this is going to sink KB Titan. It won't. But I also don't think it will not go unnoticed. It won't go uninterrupted. It's impossible.
If you think they're not going to dip into the brains, because we had said it won't be Jake's problem, it won't be Kyle's problem. It was Jake's whole problem.
Well, it's because there's not enough people on the planet that can do this and that will do this. There's more people that can than will. So you have to rely on your players.
It's really not to. Look at the brains at KB, right? Like
every time we take on a new customer, it's an adjustment period because our players have to do more, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Courtney, Brian just said it can be in a different building. Elite's Pro Mod operation was quite literally on the other side of the country.
Yeah,
right.
And it's
and you guys still right. Like we're in North Carolina handling the Pro Mod stuff. You guys are in Oklahoma, and you still noticed, that it was
on race day. There would be certain things where when Jake used to bring Eric into the beams. Where's Jake? All the Pro Mod blew up, so he's up underneath that. What the hell? So it'll be interesting to watch, and I wouldn't have had a voice on it had we not lived it with Lyle in our program. But it's tough, and I look forward to maybe on the pro stock side of it, getting able to catch them again as they go to their.
Do we get so if we draw some attention and y'all start crushing them, can we get like a tax credit? I can put toward the entry fees. Get Richard to write a check to NHRA and give me like 4 races, and I'll make that happen for you.
Stevie, if you want no entry fees, get a fuel car.
Yeah, also that.
Hey, you do not know how many conversations I have had internally with our racers that used you as an example of, because it's not that much more commitment is what we're getting at. And the core of our racers love Pro Mod. But I agree. If I could get a fuel car, it wouldn't cost anything to enter it. I would be $3 million more in the hole, but I'd have $4,000.
Just quit buying greeting cards. You'll be fine.
Oh, I'm done with that. Done. Ever.
Good little conversation piece there, Lohnes. I like that.
No, I think it's to me was one of the big pieces of the news that came out of SEMA, and I like it for all the reasons we've talked about. I mean, we've run through them all, but I like it, and we live in this era, and I think we're on the backside of it, of like this whole gatekeeping. Like there shouldn't be gatekeepers, and I'm a gatekeeper guy. I'm a fan of gatekeepers in many situations, and because there needs to be a standard for something, and I feel like there should be a gatekeeping level to license in a 250 mile an hour door car that could kill somebody if you run into them. And I don't necessarily know if we're at the appropriate level of certifying people to do that at this point. And especially if you're going to come in and look, it's in the best interest of the team to have somebody comfortable and well run before they get in that car to compete. But I mean, I would kind of like to see somebody make 6 to 8 full 250 mile an hour runs or equivalent before there is a license handed to them. I agree. I don't think a couple of full pulls actually get you there. I think more than a half dozen is somewhere in the neighborhood where I would be more comfortable. Yeah.
Perfect example. I got my Nitro Funny Car license this spring. And until I went to Q1 in Gainesville, or Q2 actually, I had never taken the car to the finish line.
That ain't great. And he did a fine job. And I'm not
but on purpose. Yeah, like Jim told me to shut it off at the 8th mile because it still runs 396 when you lift at the 8th. But I'll tell you, that last 400 feet, pretty gnarly.
It's a different deal down there, right?
Gnarly.
We have a cone down there in the shop for good measure.
Yeah.
I thought it was, and we talked about this last show, I thought it was huge credit, to Tony Stewart to not earn his pro stock license by his choice, because he said, I'm not good enough at this yet. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's a driver.
That's a race car driver.
Yep. We have gone way over, Brian. I'm very sorry.
Man, we done ruined your whole day. Sorry.
We did.
Next time we call you, he's gonna be like, "Hell no, I ain't shaking and baking with you idiots."
It's true, probably. There's too much.
Look at that.
Look at the hair on Scott Jeffrey.
Dude, that's so awesome.
The whole thing. It's
so awesome.
It's back in style now. That haircut.
You got a Dean Scusa one in there, or that's too early for that?
This is too early. Too early.
He was the reason I liked pro stock.
Captain Chaos.
Yeah, baby.
Look at the dick duster on that lip.
We're just getting started.
Oh, baby.
Gosh, I gotta grow a mustache for next year.
Plow a field.
Duster, you're such a nasty person.
Oh, here we go. All right, this is the peak right here.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Jesus,
what a gem that you got there.
It's the good stuff.
Good.
Oh,
we've come a long way.
Your boy's favorite.
Oh, Father Time.
Father Time.
Christ. Right before the retirement home.
He retired at the end of that when that card was made. He retired.
He's retired 462 times since.
A lady that hates me.
No,
does she?
Brian, you're not special. That's a long way.
She legit. That's a whole other show.
She didn't send you a greeting card for Christmas?
She called Glenn Cromwell and said he should fire me. She really hates me. It's awesome.
There's a lot of people that really hate me too.
It's good times.
Good times, great oldies. Literally.
Once you realize that someone really hates you and there's nothing you can do about it, it's pretty
freeing.
Yeah, it's freeing.
Look at that. Look at the salad right there. Look at that happening right there.
These huge. These need to be around the racetrack for 75th anniversary, just every time on the light pole flags.
Eddie Hill looks 75 years old in 1989, and he's still alive.
I still have my first to the fours Eddie Hill T-shirt. I still have it when I was a kid. Got it.
It's a big deal.
Yep.
That was a big deal.
Eddie and Ursi Hill. I can still
Yeah.
got that shit.
He looks.
Where did you get me?
Oh, he missed that part.
A dude at SEMA just handed me the full 1989 box set.
That's awesome.
It's epic.
That is
Yeah, it's
awesome.
cool.
Brian, are you calling the Winter Series?
Yes. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to that. It's going to be killer. Me and Mike Carpenter had a blast last year. I'm looking forward to working with him again. It's going to be awesome.
Mike's
When I teabag Jimmy Taylor in the grudge race, I want you hollering and acting like a lunatic.
The
Or if
bravest
he
man in
drives,
the world.
or if he drives by me at 260 miles an hour to the 8th, you can just tell everybody I was stupid. It's going to go one of the two ways. I'm not sure yet.
We'll send you our sentiments greeting card.
Yeah, if he runs like 326 at 305 to the 8th or something, I don't know. I'll bet off more than I could chew.
Whatevs. You make the world go round with your shit talking, and we appreciate you for it.
Brian, how many companies are you the intro for their phone calls every day?
Oh, dude.
Mine. He is. If you call MacFab, that's the first person you're going to hear is Brian Lohnes.
So one of the neatest things that happened to me in this whole trip of drag racing was when Dave McClellan officially retired from everything he was doing, when he was absolutely 100% done with all the stuff, he called me up and he said, Brian, I'm going to send you something. And I've told all my voiceover customers that they should call you. And that was like, if there is a greater thing that can happen to a guy in a job of what I do, there isn't a greater thing. And so like John McLeod of Classic Instruments, like all of a sudden, all these companies, when they started to update their stuff, and it's like anything else, like a couple of guys do it and then other people hear it and they want to do it too. But it was like that whole thing started because Mac literally sent me his portfolio of business for all that type of stuff. So that was it was awesome. Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Just the
I
voice.
know. I hear the comp cams won 1,000,000 times a raise.
People hate me. People hate me for that one. People hate me for that one. That one has lost me some business.
There's
actually.
a
That
lot of
was
comp cams commercials out there. You got to engineer it better than it was before.
Yeah, it's weird when you can repeat it back. Yeah,
It's the only
that's too much.
product worthy of the winner's circle. That's how you know I spend too much time at the track.
The voice of God.
Voice of something.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's not what was supposed to be up
Molly
there.
losing control in the media links over there.
Oh, it's you. Don't even lie.
It's almost midnight in Sao Paulo.
I know
so
it is. I gotta go too.
We got to roll.
All right.
Thank you guys for watching. Lones, you got anything you want to say? Anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to yell at, cuss out?
No, it's a great chat. Thanks for having me on the show. It's awesome. Good to catch up with you guys.
Perfect.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Oh, that beautiful bean footage.
Shake it back! Does that feel good? Yeah.